Today on Murfreesboro Storytellers, we're visiting the Center for the Arts in downtown Murfreesboro to find out about all the wonderful events that are taking place there. Today we're pleased to have as our guest Patience Long, who is the Executive Director of the Murfreesboro Rutherford County Center for the Arts. Patience, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us about your background. How long have you been in this position?
Sure, I've been with the center for about 3.5 years now. So in September of 2015 is when I first started.
And you were a member of the MTSU Band of Blue.
I sure was. 5 years. Took me 5 years to go to college. MTSU Band of Blue from a freshman to my senior year. Yep.
Okay, very good. Let's talk a little bit about the history of the Center for the Arts. A lot of the newcomers to the community may not know that originally this was the post office.
It was the original first post office here in Murfreesboro. And sometimes when the sun hits the office just right, you can still see postmaster office on the wall still, yep. And there's still some catwalks that are still here from where the postmaster general used to come and spy on the people, make sure they were doing the right things with the mail. So that was what the original building was for. And then in the 60s, it became the Limbaugh Library.
Right.
And then in the 90s, it was revamped into the Center for the Arts.
Center for the Arts. And as Limbaugh Library left here and moved to the by the City Hall in downtown Murfreesboro, the building became vacant.
It became vacant.
And available. And at that time, Mayor Joe Jackson took the opportunity of offering it to a group of citizens here to develop some program for it or some use for it that would be a part of the community.
Yes. There's still some of the original people that helped establish the center 20-something years ago, still involved at the center. Without them, I don't think this would have happened. So they were
Wonderful.
great. Yep.
Well, I was privileged to be among that group that worked on it to develop it into the Center for the Arts, and I've always been so proud in what has developed and what it has meant to our community.
Yes, it's a staple, I think, in Murfreesboro. I think the building itself has been here for over 100 years, and then our programming, our arts program, I think is really important to the downtown area. So. And
back at that time, the U.S. Postal Service had architects that designed buildings around the country, as I understood. They were not necessarily all alike.
Oh, that's news to me. Yeah. Look at that,
So they were a different aspect for each respective community.
Oh, that's neat. That's good to know.
Well, in developing it into the Center for the Arts, our group decided, we're going to have to raise some money to be able to fund it because it took quite a bit of doing to be able to turn the building into what we wanted to be. Two of our members went to the Christy Houston Foundation and got a $500,000 grant from Christy Houston for the building. Lo and behold, we did not at that time know what we needed, frankly, to develop the building.
Sure.
It turned out we needed $900,000.
Okay.
So we went to the city and to the county, and each of them gave us $200,000, and we wound up then with our $900,000 to turn the building into the Center for the Arts.
That is amazing. That $900,000 went a long way.
It did.
Yep.
It really did. And it was a great enterprise and a sense of pride once we finally raised the money and got it done.
Yep.
And then I know one of our board members, in visiting with the wife of the head of the NHC Corporation, Andy Adams, and told her about the need, and as a result of that, they sent me to visit with Andy, and he came back with about $100,000 of additions to the building.
Oh, wow.
So it was just a series of several things that made it into what it is. We're so proud.
That's great.
At that time, Intermedia was the TV company here, and they were very much involved in the community. So we had the dedication in, I guess, 1995 it was. And Intermedia, we told them we would like to get some talent to come in for the grand opening. So they brought in Eva Marie Saint for us. I don't know, On the Waterfront is before your time, I'm sure.
A little bit, but I've heard about it.
But Marlon Brando and Eva Marie Saint and others were featured in that. And Eva Marie Saint came and was here the night of the dedication of the Center for the Arts.
That is amazing.
I at one time had her telephone number, but I checked my album and it's gone.
Oh.
So I thought I'd try to give her a call.
Tell her to come back next year for our 25th.
Okay. All right, over the years, then we've had a number of productions here in the Center for the Arts. Well, how much staff do you have?
Sure. Well, when I first started about 3.5 years ago, there were three of us, three full-time people. Myself, an office manager, and a marketing manager.
Okay.
And I don't come from a theater background. However, I will tell this, John. When I was at MTSU, I said, what do I want to be when I grow up? maybe an actress. So I actually tried my acting here on the stage
Did
in
you really?
1995 when it first opened in A Christmas Carol. And I learned very quickly I should be behind the scenes instead of on stage. So anyway, so when I first came here, I have a lot of fundraising and business background and nonprofit. I'm not a lot of theater background. And so what I've done is I've surrounded myself with people that do have theater background and use my business knowledge and nonprofit. And now we have 4 full-time and 5 part-time staff members here. It's grown quite a bit.
With your knowledge and business experience, that's exactly what was needed for this position, to be able to continue to market the facility and be able to have fundraising events.
Sure. I mean, the people that were here before me did such a great job of establishing foundations, getting the culture right. But then I come in and I'm like, well, let's make this financially viable so we can offer more programs to the community.
Tell me some of the productions that you've been having in recent times here at the Center for the Arts.
Sure. So the last one we just closed, the first one of our 2019 season was Newsies, Disney's Newsies the musical. We had to add extra shows. We sold out every performance. And I think I probably could have done 3 more weekends and it completely sell out. It was an amazing experience. Yep.
So you have seating for about how many people?
We have seating for 127 people.
Okay.
And in 2019, we rolled out several new things here at the center.
Oh, okay.
First was reserved seating. So before this year, you would have general admission. So you'd have a ticket, you come and wait, you wait for the doors open, and you find your seat. Now you can reserve online, and you can choose the seat you want.
Right.
So I hear from our patrons, they love that.
I'm sure.
Yes. And then we recently opened a new cafe in the art gallery called Break a Leg Cafe.
Okay.
Where we sell hot food, and we also now sell beer during intermission before the show. Okay. We actually got a large gift from Ted and Gloria LaRoche last year.
I've just seen a report of that.
Yes. So we're finally able to unveil the name because they were anonymous for a while.
Okay.
And that's what's helped us use to buy new LED lights, new curtains for the theater. So 2019 Newsies, when it opened, it was like the culmination of all this hard work and money and to a great new experience for Murfreesboro community.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. What do you do in the way of regular fundraising? How do you raise your money? Do you have events or?
Sure, we do one large event a year. It's called Backstage Bash,
right.
And that happens in April. And this year, the last few years, we've got a committee together of these young professionals that are amazing, and they've really increased our revenue with that, 50%. And then last year was 100%. So we've made a lot of money off that event. But our number one source of revenue is ticket sales. We do 14 shows a year.
Okay.
That's up quite a lot from a few years ago.
We
also, our second revenue generator is our children's program. We have increased enrollment in our children's program to over 376% in 3 years. So we now have 600 kids that come through our programs that learn theater, dancing, visual arts throughout the year, and that helps us with our revenue generating. And then we rely on grants and fundraising. We rely on community foundations and grants. We get some money from the city government, the state, and the rest are by individual donations.
You mentioned Backstage Bash. You still have that in College Street, out in the street?
We don't. We brought it in a few years
Inside.
ago, and we wanted to build that event to where it was one of the most talked about event around town, and we finally got it to a place where it's the funnest event I think you'll go to in Murfreesboro. There's lots of events all around town all the time, but this one's a very fun event. And we max out at 200, and so it's kind of an exclusive event, and we have now got to the point where we have to turn people away. So there have been talks about moving it back on the street because we've built that up, but we'll see.
That gives you more room, of course.
It gives us more room, but it takes the, it takes a little bit out of it,
Oh, I'm sure it does.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Tell me about your budget.
Sure. So when I first started, we had about $350,000, I think, as our budget. This year we're closing with that large gift to over $600,000. So we've grown quite a bit in the last few years, and I think as Murfreesboro grows, so does the demand for arts.
Sure.
But then we've got a really great people involved in the center now, people that love to be here, that have great positive attitudes. Those people kind of are flocking to see our shows, which is really nice.
And you have a board of directors?
We do. We have 15 members on our board of directors. They meet every other month. Great people.
Who is your chair?
Matt Ledbetter.
Yeah, okay, very good.
Yeah.
Okay. What would be your head of your wish list if you had something that you need?
I'll be honest.
I'm sure this could be a long list.
It is, but the number one right now is that we need a bigger facility.
Okay.
We have sold out every show for the last 18 months, including straight plays, which is kind of hard to sell straight plays, but people know that we're here, we produce quality shows, and in my opinion, and other people's opinion, like Newsies really set the bar. A lot of people said they saw Newsies at TPAC and on Broadway, and we're right there, and they're right. Our talent level is amazing. We've got a lot of buzz about us, and so people are having a hard time getting tickets. That shouldn't happen. So we really need a bigger facility.
There's an effort underway in the community to form a Rutherford Arts Alliance.
Yes.
And one of the things this group is talking about is having a facility in the community that would be useful for play productions, musicals, all types of events.
Absolutely. I think Murfreesboro needs it. We're one of the fastest growing cities in the United States. We have a large population. Arts are important to our community. Absolutely. And there needs to be a civic center or a facility to house lots of people at once, and not just for plays or performances, but for lectures or for the students in high school that have to go to festivals and kind of perform 3 or 4 times in order to get everyone that needs to see them in. I just think it's a needed for our community. When
you mentioned about the students of the high schools, tell me again or elaborate more on what you do to bring students into the Center for the Arts and in the operation here.
Sure. Well, first and foremost, my husband is the choir director at Stewart's Creek High School.
Oh, okay.
So some of the kids in Newsies actually were his former students. But yeah, we always try to partner with local high schools and middle schools, and we actually perform during the day to local elementary schools to get them here to kind of have, because sometimes these kids have never seen a live performance.
And go into the schools?
We actually bring them here right now.
Oh, you bring them here.
But
okay.
we partner with Patterson Park, so in March it's a bigger facility.
Sure.
So they're coming to Patterson to watch us perform. Oh. And we just got a large grant from the Jennings Jones Foundation to start an arts in school program. Okay. So we're working on establishing that so we can actually go to them.
And are you continually applying to various foundations for financial support?
Absolutely, it's year-round. And right now I'm the fundraiser, so
okay. I understand.
I'm thinking if we expand one more position, it might be that one. But yeah, so it's year-round. We apply for foundations and grants, and every show that we have has usually a title sponsorship, and then the Bash has many sponsors. So it's continuously trying to basically ask for money all the time.
Let's talk a little bit more about the Rutherford Arts Alliance.
Sure.
It would involve more than just theatrical productions, right?
Yes, it is all arts, and that term is. It includes so many different things, like some events that are cultural in nature are included in this alliance. It's a great organization that they're starting to really bring all of us to the table. Whereas I'm a performing arts venue, someone else is visual arts. We're all talking together to try to figure out how to really leverage support for one another and leverage it to the community.
Okay. And that's underway and progressing, as I understand it.
It is. We've had several meetings. We just had an official kickoff on January 9th here at the center.
Which was here at the center.
Yep. And they unveiled the name, which is the Rutherford Arts Alliance. And so they're working on getting a 501c3, and they're thinking that's going to be established by the summer.
Okay. I know Andrea Lowry has been very instrumental and very much involved in that. And that's one of the great people to have involved in this to get it done.
She's an amazing, amazing woman. I didn't know her until I became involved in the Arts Alliance, and I just don't know how I would live my life without her. She is really an amazing woman, and Murfreesboro is really lucky to have her.
Andrew Oppmann at MTSU's daughter has been involved from a young people standpoint, a youth standpoint, I guess you'd say.
Yes, and I've seen her. She was started on our stage when, way back before I got here, but I've seen her grow up, and she's just a wonderful young lady. And she's helping the Art Alliance too, kind of form what the youth art needs, the youth people need in our community for arts.
Yeah, that'll make it an even broader concept, I would assume.
Well, children are our future, so.
Absolutely. Tell us what's in the future for 2019 for the Center for the Arts.
Sure, so much. Last year we had a motto in the office: we are not overwhelmed, we're in high demand. And so we try to live that way. There's so much happening. With our theater, we have 126 seat theater. We have 14 productions a year that we self-produce. So each production has its own director, producer, assistant director, stage manager, crew, cast. And so you have that 14 times a year going on simultaneously in the building.
That's more than one a month.
It sometimes is more than one a month. Okay. And then on top of it, our children's program, we offer triple threat classes, beginning classes, and that's usually from 4:30 to 6:30, including our production class, where kids can sign up for it, audition, rehearse, and perform it to a full live audience. And those, we do 6 or 7 of those a year. Okay. So we've got the 14 shows plus the 7 junior shows. So there's many weekends that we have show on top of show.
I'll bet.
So there's all this going on. Then we have a beautiful art gallery that feature local artists. So we try to get as many local artists in here as we can feature, where it's free and open to the public Monday through Friday.
Okay.
And many more. We partner with a lot of community organizations around here and lend our building, lend our talent, lend our time. So there's lots going on at the center, and so I think we're really important for our community.
Sure.
So.
Is that venue available for organizations that might want to come in and have a reception or an event here?
Yes, we do rent it out many times, and then we also partner with nonprofit organizations.
Okay.
Some of our sponsors get a benefit if they sponsor an event, like for Newsies, Redstone Federal Credit Union sponsored it.
Okay.
They were able to use our gallery as a client reception, and they come here and they watch a sneak preview of the show, which is really nice.
Typically, what would a sponsorship of a production cost?
Sure, it ranges anywhere from $500 for a co-sponsor all the way up to $2,500 for a title sponsorship.
Sponsor, okay.
Yep.
And they get included in any advertising and publicity then?
Advertising, publicity, they can give out stuff to the audience. It's a great promotional tool for them, and it really does support us. And it usually is able to pay for at least the rights of the show. So then our ticket revenue can go to pay for costumes and props and sets and things like that.
And I guess I should have mentioned, we're on the stage, if you will, of the Center for the Arts, where we're doing our program.
Yes.
Where so many of these events have taken place that we've been talking about.
Absolutely. The floor is still from Newsies, although Sense and Sensibility started building just today.
Okay.
So they're building over the Newsies floor, but soon it'll be painted, which will make me sad because Newsies was a very good show.
Sure.
Yeah.
What is your next production?
Sense and Sensibility. It opens on February 8th. And after that, we have The Calendar Girls, which is great. It's going to be a great, funny show. And then The Producers, which is a big musical. We have, over the summer, we have Footloose, we have The Wiz, we have Les Mis High School Edition, so our junior kids are going to be able to perform that. We have then Secret Garden, Shakespeare in Love, Christmas Carol, and The Fantastics. And I hope I got them all, but a lot of shows.
But if you did not be surprised. Well, such a variety of productions too
Yes.
during the year.
Yes. You know, one thing we do after every show is we to give the audience members a survey.
Oh,
what would
okay.
you like to see here? How are facilities? And we really take that to heart. And so a lot of our shows are based on what the community wants to see. Sometimes it's based on what our theater audience wants, you know, more edgy shows, and we're able to start doing that. We actually added something called a bonus season on our so we have a main stage show, 14 main stage shows, but 3 of them are called bonus shows, where a season ticket holder, it might be a little too edgy for them, so they can opt out of those shows. Last year we had Heather's the Musical, which was actually, I was very excited about it, but it was a rated R, which just pushes the envelope just a little bit for Murfreesboro. Sold out.
Wonderful.
Sold out, and we had rave reviews, and we actually were nominated for a few awards in Nashville for it. So, you know, I think there's a little bit for everyone here at the center.
How can we best get the word out about what you're doing here in your facility and get people involved, not just attendance-wise, but financially as well?
Sure. That's one of those questions that's a great question, because I feel like we do so much and we're out there so much, we market and we do this, Facebook, but there's still people that are like, the what? Where is that located? What do you mean? So the great question, how do we get to reach those people that don't do Facebook, that don't read the newspaper? If you tell me the answer to that, I think it'll solve all of our problems. But they can always visit our website, borougharts.org.
Okay.
That has all the upcoming shows. It talks about our financial needs. They can always donate, and you can designate how you want your gift. If you want your gift to go for scholarships, or if you want your gift to go to help the productions, just whatever you want to designate your gift, you can, and we'll make sure that that happens.
And you're on Facebook and Twitter? And all
We're on the Facebooks.
Okay.
The Twitters we are on. As you can see, I'm a little bit old for that, so I have my young marketing people do that. And I think we're on Instagram as well, and I think we might have Snapchat.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the way to get word out at today's time, it seems
I
like.
agree. I agree. And if you like our Facebook page, we do interviews with the cast. We share news, things like that. So that's the best way to keep updated.
Have any idea what kind of an audience she has on Facebook? Do you have any way of knowing?
I'm not sure. I think what we do is we just kind of figure out what Facebook general audience is, and that's probably the sliver of people that we have access to.
All right. Let's go back and talk a little bit more about the Rutherford Arts Alliance. I think you and I both were at a meeting with Andrea Lowry at her home a few weeks ago, and some of the basics were being discussed.
Yes.
What do you think the next step should be?
Well, I think we definitely need to get the 501c3 going, so that's official.
Okay.
And then, I know that they've nominated a president, a vice president, a secretary, and they're starting to form these steering committees. I think one of the most important things would be this cultural asset list. So, the chamber did these surveys and studies a few years ago and kind of identified 1,200 cultural assets in the community. And we have now established a database of those assets.
I did not realize.
Yes, but we've added 500 to that between all of us around that table.
So there's 1,700.
1,700 that we still probably only have 600 people's contact information. So that's a big one. We've got to get this database up and going to where we'll be able to email everyone at once when something big happens, or if they need to attend a meeting or whatever.
So this 1,700 are individuals?
They're individuals. They are individual artists. They are, centers like ourselves, like us and MLT, Patterson Park. People that run events that are unique to Murfreesboro are included in this list. So it's a cultural heritage asset list.
Okay.
So not just visual performing, there's all kinds of cultural assets that are involved.
Is MLT still located near the NHC facility?
Yes, on Ewing Street.
On Ewing Boulevard,
yep,
right.
They are. And they do great work. Their facility's smaller than ours, but they do, they kind of specialize in some of the more edgier plays, and they do a great job of what they do over there. So we have a great relationship with them and other people around us. So.
That was and many years ago, that was a Boy Scout headquarters there.
No way, I didn't know that.
That's right.
Oh, wow. I've been there a few times.
That building has been there for a number of years and
Yeah.
served the community in several ways.
Yeah, I think they do something great. It's called Shakespeare. They do outdoor Shakespeare over there at MLT, and they use the outside of the cabin.
Oh, do they?
They do, and it's free and open to the public. I believe it happens every summer. I think it's great for the community.
There used to be some real interesting Shakespeare productions over at the Webb School of Bell Buckle in the
okay.
summertime.
All right.
I'm not sure whether they still do those or not, but that lends itself to a lot of different phases of entertainment.
Sure. Well, we did actually Midsummer Night's Dream last
Oh, did
November,
you?
just a few months ago. And, I didn't know if I would like it too much because, I'm more like the flashy new stuff. But again, I didn't think I was going to be able to follow it,
Okay.
But the directors did such a good job. Connie and George Downer, they're a married couple that co-directed it. They did such a good job to teach the people what the meanings of the words were. And then they really conveyed that to the audience in the way they acted. And like, I told them at the end, I was like, congratulations, I understood 85% what was happening. Good job,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you talk about getting all the names of individuals and organizations to use for communications and correspondence. Do you do mailings anymore? Do we do that type of?
Sure, the center actually does.
Okay.
We still do postcards. We just recently acquired a new database, so it's a lot more advanced than what we've been used to. So we might eliminate that depending on a few things. I think we're going to do a little target segmented tests, but we still do postcards. We still do year-end mailings to ask for fundraising dollars.
Okay.
We still send out hard, tangible invitations to our bash fundraiser. I do like the paper products. But the Rutherford Art Alliance right now, I think it was all digital. Like the invitation we did at the January 9th event, it was all through Evite.
Oh, it was, okay.
Yep, so.
And you had a large turnout, as you said earlier.
We did. We had over 150 people
Yeah,
there.
okay,
It was a
very
great turnout.
Okay. An excellent beginning to the Rutherford Arts Alliance. What do you see is needed otherwise in regard to the Arts Alliance? Anything else you think of that the group is not talking about yet or doing yet?
I think they're doing exactly what they need to do.
Okay.
They need to get the right people to the table. They need to get the message out that they're here, and then we got to figure out what our message is and what we want out of it, and then communicate that to everyone. So I think they're doing the right steps in order to get us going. What I would like to see overall in arts in Murfreesboro and Rutherford County would be just more financial support from government, from city, from even state, and from individuals. And I think this performing arts venue, if it got off the ground, would be fantastic for us.
It would be a great addition. And as far as its long-range plans, MTSU has plans for a similar facility that will be on the East Main side of the campus. I think sort of where the St. Mark's United Methodist Church used to be at one time.
Yep, I think that's a great idea. When this performing arts venue kind of came about, we're working on getting it established with MTSU to talk about what that could look like, because there's no location of the new performing arts venue. It's just Do we need it? Who needs to be on board? How do we raise money for it? So I think MTSU has to be at the table. I think the city has to be at the table. The county has to be at the table for that.
And I believe Tuck Hinton has done a mock-up or a initial design for the building, has it not?
Yeah, so Kim Hinton was
right.
T. Earl Hinton's son,
Right.
who I know from Band of Blue.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course, T. Earl Hinton was a longtime member of the MTSU Music Department.
Yep. I actually met him a few times when I was at MTSU.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I
Okay.
did. And so his son is an architect in Nashville.
Oh, yes. Very successful.
Yeah, so he got together with one of the board members from the symphony, and they kind of got together and figured out what do we need here in
Okay,
Murfreesboro, and that's
okay.
how they created this mock-up of a performing arts venue.
You mentioned T. Earl Hinton. I wanted to mention the fact that Earl Hinton and Dr. Sam Ingram, who at MTSU together, were instrumental in initiating a lawsuit on a one-man, one-vote rule and got our county commission designated to actually fully represent the population of the county, if that makes any sense.
It does. I remember you mentioned that before. I thought that was really neat. Really neat fact. Yeah.
It's been a great part. Anything we've left out or failed to mention?
No, just I will say, with our children's programs, they range, ages are 5 to 18, and we have after-school programs starting at 4:30 Monday through Friday. So if your kid you think might have any interest in arts, give us a call. We can put them in a program to see if that's something that would interest them. Because there's so many great things that come out of being involved in arts as a youth. With me, I met my husband in the Band of Blue. Have my kids that are future Band of Blue members, I'm convinced. So a lot of great things comes out of being involved in arts.
We haven't even mentioned the location. We mentioned downtown Murfreesboro, but your address?
110 West College Street. We're on the
Okay.
corner of Church and College,
All right.
1 block off the square in Murfreesboro.
Couldn't be more downtown than where
Could
you
not
are
be
right
more
here.
downtown, yep.
And what is your phone number here?
It's 904-ARTS, ARTS, so it's 904-2787.
And Ted LaRoche, if I recall, got that number.
Did
many-
he really?
Many years ago.
Oh, that's neat.
So a lot of people have been involved in getting us where we are.
Yes, yes.
Well, Patience, thank you so much. Congratulations on the good work you're doing, and wish you well for the future, working with the Rutherford Arts Alliance as well as the Center for the Arts here and promoting the arts in our community.
Thank you. Well, and thank you for all you do, John Hood. I've known you since I was a youngin', and you do great work, so thank you.
Okay. Well, Patience Long, thank you so much. The Executive Director of the Murfreesboro Rutherford County Center for the Arts. On next month's Murfreesboro Storytellers, we feature the local chapter of the American Red Cross and find out how they are helping members of our community.